Yes.
About us. And we know it takes a lot for everybody to get here. So we're hosting a raffle for those who are in attendance at this Sunday study. We understand that it's a struggle in this economic climate under capitalism to get here, to go back home. So we're raffling off two $25 gift cards, and we're going to be announcing the winner at the end of today's rally. So if you don't have your raffle ticket, please be sure to stop by the table and get that. Our community rallies are held every Sunday, beginning at 4 p.m. right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I want everyone here to get their pen and pad together and be prepared for a question and answer session that we're gonna have after the main presentation by our chairman, Omali Yeshitela. That's scheduled a little bit later in the program. And if you're located in St. Louis, Missouri, make sure you approach the podium at the appropriate time so that we can get your questions answered. Led by the African People's Socialist Party, the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement is a mass organization. It was founded in 1991, and it is the leading organization for the struggle for bread, peace, and Black power in the 21st century. And you can join this movement by visiting mpdum.org/today and choose the membership level that works for you. Get involved in this work. We have a fundraising goal today of $100, and your donations help continue to bring influential films, revolutionary discussions, and conferences and more to the African community. And I'm really calling on you to participate in this movement. The democratic rights that Black people have fought for are under attack. Reparations, freedom of speech, and we need you to stand up for freedom by joining the International People's Democratic Movement. The democratic rights we're simultaneously organizing in St. Louis, Missouri right now. They're having an MPDUM Sunday rally, and they're uniting to build hands-off Uhuru committees, and we need to do this wherever we're located. On Friday, July 29th in 2022, the FBI initiated a political assault against the African People's Socialist Party, the broader Uhuru movement, and our leader, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and in the form of pre-dawn raids. This attack employed the use of dozens of tactical gear-sporting FBI agents. They used battering rams, flashbang grenades, assault rifles, drones, and just about anything that they could. The attacks occurred in two cities where our party has prominent bases, in St. Petersburg, Florida, and in St. Louis, Missouri. And the latter are recently established party headquarters. They were simultaneous, beginning at 5 a.m. in the Midwest and 6 a.m. on the East Coast. And they happened at a time when the FBI assumed that our leaders would be in a vulnerable state. It was also an attempt to make it impossible for our leaders to connect with one another to prepare for whatever was coming next. So let's begin our program with the African National Fight song written by our own Alike Ngoma. And we'll follow this with a short video that shows exactly what took place during this violent raid. So everyone, please rise so we can sing the lyrics before you on the screen. Uhuru.
Africa, we are winning. Shout Uhuru for our freedom.
This is the FBI. You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for this.
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need?
Need one.
I don't know.
Go tell Ben that money. Don't take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
So I have here the verdict is in, reparations now, and I want to read from page 183 where Afeni Shakur talks at the World Tribunal for Reparations. She says here that one of the things that we like for people to understand is that the counterintelligence program is something that now reigns supreme in our movement. It's important for us, however, to begin by understanding what a counterintelligence program really is. A counterintelligence program is a military operation. It has specific functions, specific goals and objectives. One goal of any counterintelligence program is to neutralize a hostile agent. We should understand that the United States government considers all elements of the Black liberation movement hostile agents. And representing the Uhuru Three, I'm pleased to introduce one of the lawyers for this historic case, attorney Angela Rainey, Uhuru. Uhuru, right here.
Oh, Lord, if you want me to sing it, I'll scare you out.
Just speak a couple of words and give us a general overview and then up to you.
Okay. Well, we met today, and I think we're making great progress on our case. We've had some really good meetings. I'm just excited to be a part of the team, to be real honest. And I think the thoughts I shared last time are, the same, that I think we're on the right side here, and we're doing great work that's going to impact a lot of people in this case. So.
Uhuru, I want to highlight, if you have any questions about this case, please get them prepared. But right now, I need everybody out of their seat. Let's give a big Uhuru welcome. Mutaki Akbar. I wouldn't want to miss you. Please, some words.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to bring greetings. We've been, like Angela said, we've been working since yesterday, throughout this weekend. We've also, a month ago, we went through the case, and we're realizing more and more every time we meet just how much of an injustice this whole case is. And we're actually excited about the trial next month. Because we'll have the opportunity to really lay it all out, and like we've said before, put the government on trial themselves as far as what they're presenting. We've had a meeting after the meeting about the case and about what this really means, and in those conversations is just the understanding that this is an attack on not only this organization because of what this organization stands for and what this organization does throughout the world, but it's an attack in general on the ability for people to speak and say and do the things that they want to do, even when it's not in agreement with most of the culture. And one of the things that we say that we're going to have to do, and what our plan is to do throughout the trial, is to let the world know that you don't necessarily have to agree with everything somebody says or everything somebody does, but you can't allow the government to intrude on their ability to say and do what they want to do. And I think that's important for this organization, and important, like Angela said, to send a message out to everybody as far as why this case is important. So we're looking forward to it. We really encourage everybody, if you can, to show up to the trial. I think it's going to be important for the jury to look out and see the support that this organization has and what this organization means to this community. So thank you for this opportunity. Again, we appreciate your continued support, your continued prayers. We're really going to need that throughout this process. I appreciate it.
Uhuru, and Angela, well, the other attorney who spoke earlier, works with Leonard Goodman, who is not able to be here, but I just want to salute everyone for coming up and giving an update on this historic case. And so now let's hear from the chairman himself, the reason we are all here. Everybody, let's give a big Uhuru welcome to the leader of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the African Nation.
Uhuru. First of all, I just want to express my appreciation to everybody, and want to make apologies for Comrade Omali Yeshitela, who would be here. In fact, this place from where we're speaking right now, she is responsible for everything that you see in here and how it looks. And we took this building some years ago, and it had been abandoned, I think, when we took it, something like 30 years. We came in, refurbished, redid the entire place, and that's how we've moved in every instance. We've come to, at that time, this was an extremely African-centered community. And the local government here got a grant from the federal government that facilitated moving Africans out of this community and what have you, because every time a rebellion happened, many of the people who responded to the attacks by the police, et cetera, came from here. So they moved on getting the African people out, special programs that were designed to do that, because they did not, the objective all the time has been to break up the political unity of this community, the political strength of this community, and the economic potential of this community by dispersing the African community. So that's part of what happened. But we rehabilitated this place. And we've done similar things in other places where you saw the photos coming from in St. Louis. That was a place that we went into the most impoverished sector of the African population, because our objective is to raise up the African working class to its full stature. Because people don't ever hear from the African working class. When you hear something that's supposed to be about Black people, et cetera, it's never from the perspective or the interest of ordinary African working class people. It's petty bourgeois middle class Africans who have a different objective and different assumption of what freedom means than Black people, ordinary people in the community. So I just wanted to say that. And also, it's good to be here because the presence of some of you just speaks volumes in terms of liquidating the fallacious claims by the United States government that the work that our party does, the work that I do, is something that's paid for by the Russian government. I've been doing this work now for more than 60 years. I'll be 83 years old in October. And a point that I would make, in the 83 years I've been alive, I've not known of an instance of Black people being free. And nothing having to do with Russia or anything like that. Our struggle was something that informed Russians how to struggle. Our movement of Black people here and around the world has informed the struggles of peoples everywhere around the world. So being here, being in St. Petersburg in particular, speaks volumes to what it is that we stand for and who we are. I'm so happy to see young sister Juliet here, who was in Jomo when she was 15 years old. And, she wasn't just in Jomo, she was an incredible force. She reminds me so much of Comrade Akili. She was one of the people, we criticized one brother who, when the FBI attacked him, he was so frightened that he gave him everything except his mother's address. But we have principles, how you act when the FBI comes. It just makes sense. You don't tell them stuff because they're going to use everything you say to put you in prison. That they are selling Bibles or giving away things like that. They're there to do some harm to our community. They come to Juliet's house. She's 15 years old. They knock on the door. She opens it. She slams the door in the face. She finds us the FBI. So they're banging on the door, and then they go to the windows, and they're banging on the windows, and she's going to window around them, et cetera, shutting them out. She was an incredible force. This was Juliet. This was, and I mentioned this too because she was 15 when that happened. She's at least 23 now. So we've been here, and our struggle has nothing to do with the Russians. It has to do with us. And they would try to define what they're doing to us based on Russia because they want to obscure, liquidate, act like what they do to us doesn't happen or didn't happen. It's not like Black people popped up in this country under some kind of collard green leaf in a cotton plantation or something like that. Africans are here as a consequence of having been kidnapped. And I'm saying this because I think it's extremely important for us to understand that you hear this rhetoric coming from the government, from your schools and other things that talk about how America is what they characterize as a nation of immigrants. In the first place, America is not a nation. It's a prison of nations. If you don't, what I mean by that, look around you and see how the indigenous people, who they call Indians, are living in concentration camps that they call Indian reservations. Look at what's happening with the Mexican people who are living in these barrios and things like that, who they took their children in cages at the border on their own land that was stolen from them in 1848. This is a part of the prison of nations. These are the nations who are in prison here. And if you look at the prisons in this country, I'm talking about now the former prisons in this country. You see the majority of the people locked up in prison are colonized people, Africans, indigenous people, Mexicans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is a prison of nations. So I think it's just important to say that. So we are not immigrants. We didn't come here looking for a better way of life. In fact, Africans are the only ones who lost a better way of life as a consequence of having been brought here. So we weren't here running from oppression. We were kidnapped into oppression. So when people made laws and rules who took this land from the indigenous people and took us from our homeland, they made laws and rules to protect the relationships that had come from enslaving us and stealing the land of the indigenous people, which is why the indigenous people still don't have no rights, still living on concentration camps. That's why the so-called Mexican people living in barrios, that's why they come across a border that the Europeans created that border, and when they crossed over to this side of their border, they're characterized as illegal. The people who came and stole the land made themselves legal. It made everybody else illegal. This is the court system that we're having to contend with too. But here is the thing. They say that we work for the US, for the Russians. And I'm saying that your presence is part of the evidence of who we are. What we've done in this community, what we've done in this country, what we've done for African people, period, it's a lie. They fabricated everything they said in terms of us working for Russians. They know we don't work for Russians. Their problem is not that we work for Russians. Their problem is because we work for you. That's the problem that they're confronted with. We believe in the deepest, most profound way in the right of African people to be a free and self-governing people. A people who live as slaves voluntarily cannot have dignity. The dignity of African people requires for us to struggle against this oppression so that we can't even predict our children will have a decent future. So they lied. And I want to say that it's an absolute total lie. They fabricated it. We never worked for Russians. We work for us. And we've developed a strategy for winning our freedom. And part of the strategy for winning our freedom is to break out of the information and organization political circle that have been imposed on us by this government and by the system that they've created. They locked us into this place. That's why people say when Malcolm X went to Africa and other places that somehow and to Gaza, they're saying that this was the thing that killed them because we are not supposed to look and go any other place, not supposed to have any other relation, even people who were members of Martin Luther King's own organization. When King came out, they told King not to come out on the war that the US was making against Vietnam. And he did it anyway. They told King that if you do this is going to be a problem that it will mean that you will be attacked. And King did not have a gun in his hand when they killed him. Malcolm X did not have a gun in his hand when they killed him. Both of them were unarmed. And what was their crime? Speech, talking. And what does the slave have to talk about except hating slavery and getting out of slavery? That's the only conversation we got. Unless we're working for the ones who enslaved us, what else are we going to talk about? We have nothing else to talk about. And so the issue is the fact that when the Europeans left Europe, and why did they leave Europe? They left Europe because of poverty and oppression. They left Europe because of poverty and oppression. When we met Europeans, they lived under a system that they called feudalism. Under feudalism, they had no rights. It was the divine right of kings. The king said, I got divine rights. God gave me this rights and I tell everybody what to do and y'all better do it. And so escaping from feudalism, and it was bad because you had this relationship between the Catholic Church who conferred upon the king these divine rights because the Catholic Church, the Pope, was the nexus between heaven and the rest of us, I guess that's hell. So this is how the rights got conferred. So when they leave Europe, they're running from poverty, They're running from a lack of freedom, and they're going to get them some freedom. And they're going to be able to feed and clothe and house their children. And how do they do it? They come here. And then they take this land from the indigenous people. You know how they took it. They create atrocious offenses against the indigenous people. They were raping 10-year-old girls. They had dogs that they had trained to eviscerate, to tear out the intestines of the indigenous people. Check it out. They didn't have horses when they first got here. So if they wanted to go from place to place, they jump on the back of a so-called Indian and ride them to go places. This is what these forces who made all the laws. They're running from oppression. And they come here to be free. And they're going to be free. And they're going to be free on somebody else's land. And in order to take this land and keep it, then they have to crush the people. And then they come and they bring us here. We are the ones, black people here. And in various other places around the world, created the world economy through this forced dispersal of African people. It was forced dispersal. That's why the song that you saw up there is Viva Haiti, Haiti. That's where black people were taken at gunpoint. That's where part of where we were taken. Forced dispersal of African people everywhere around the world. Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, all of these areas, African people were taken at gunpoint. And in fact, the whole hemisphere has this character based on the fact that African people were stolen and dispersed around the world. That's why it looks like it does today. Right now, Venezuela, you name it, it's there because black people were enslaved. This was the creation for the first time in human history of a world economy. Was no world economy before. Africans had been trading with people all around the world before, but was no world economy. One economy linked up the entire world. That was through the forced dispersal of black people. So now for the first time in history, you got a world economy. And that economy is parasitic. It is parasitic in nature. It is one that's based on extracting value, force value, from people who live under direct colonialism. That's what we live under. That's what we live under, despite the fact that they call you a citizen. Some people in this room are old enough to have gone to school and to learn something that they call de facto rights, de facto things, and de jure. And de jure is rights that you have by law. De facto is rights that you got for real, right? So the African who stands up, who's on the corner there, and the cop rolls up, by law, that African should be able to stand up there on the street, 4, 5, 6 of them, and committing just talking on the street by law, should be able to do that. That's de jure. You should be able to do that. But when the cops come up and say, give me the corner, that's de facto law. Because if you don't give them the corner, they right to king you, at minimum. Or they do some other kind of horrible thing to you. The difference in having real rights and having rights by law. That's why sometimes, even in the case we are dealing with, they've characterized what they're doing to us as a law. How do they put this term? That it doesn't matter, it's content neutral. The law is content. We locking you up not because you say black people should be free, not because you say pay reparations to black people for all these hundreds of years you've stolen our resources and our lives and things like that. Not because you say that the United States should be taken before the World Court for committing the crime against the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. That ain't why we are taking you to jail, to put you in prison for a natural life, which is what it would be for me if they convicted me on that. They said, that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because you work for the Russians. They say because the law is content neutral, that we would do this to you even if you were talking about Russian cuisine. Russian food, if the Russians told you to say it, then you did it, then we would put you in jail because you would have violated the law. Of course, that's nonsense. And for a number of reasons, we know it's nonsense because one of the reasons in the indictment itself, they said that we said this and did these kinds of things. So clearly content had something to do with it. That's clearly the case. So, but that's their claim. But you and I know that legally, I was supposed to be able to vote. Isn't that because somehow citizenship was conferred upon us having the right to vote, having the right to go different places? By law, we're supposed to have that. But the fact is, I ended up in the 1960s working to get voting rights for Black people in this country, working to get rights for Black people to do anything that we want to do in this country. That's the basis for the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. If we had all those rights that they said the Constitution gave us, then why would there have to be a Civil Rights Bill, a Voting Rights Act? They had it because it wasn't true. Because the law that governed our relationship to the United States government, the law that governed our relationship to the United States government was put forth in 1857 by the Supreme Court of the United States that said that Black people had no rights that a white man had to respect. This was the Supreme Court of the United States, the same Supreme Court that this man Thomas is a part of now, that takes the bribe of $200,000 RV van. The same Supreme Court where his wife is associated, at least symbolically and politically, and was in there on January 6th with the attack on the right of peaceful transfer of power. That Supreme Court said that we had no rights. And it was not another court that said, okay, you got some rights now. It was a civil war. Because the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, is something that was ratified by the United States Congress in 1791. Where were we in this country in 1791? We were in chains. So you have this really interesting kind of contradiction. It ain't interesting, it's horrific. Where the people who took this country won the freedom to oppress. That's what they won. They won the freedom to oppress us. They won the freedom to oppress the indigenous people here. That was their victory. And that's what they make laws based on that. But that's their problem. Because I'm gonna make them live up to those laws. You understand? That's what we're gonna do. We ain't trying to turn Joe Biden into an African internationalist. We ain't trying to get the FBI, the United States government, to have the same philosophy that we got. Long as you got the same philosophy, that we all right. The thing is, what we are telling the United States government it has to do is to live up to what you say you believe in, not what I believe in, right? And you say you believe in free speech. You say you believe in freedom of assembly. You've created constitutions and other kinds of laws that reinforce that. I believe in that too. I believe absolutely in free speech, absolutely in freedom of assembly. How in the hell can you live in a world where it's against the law to speak? That's an offensive assault on human dignity. You got no rights if you don't have the right to speak. You may be unable to speak because of some physical impairment, but you have the right to speak. And that's the thing that we are fighting for. I see Comrade DJ Eddie in the house. DJ Eddie is the Ray Charles of gospel music. Stand up, DJ Eddie, let everybody see. Yeah. DJ Eddie said, I don't see nothing, but I feel everything. DJ Eddie said, Jesus and Black Power, and the same sentence. Oh boy, you don't see many preachers like that. So I just wanted to say that there's a lot ahead of us. That obviously the attack that's been made on us is not an attack based on the criminal behavior that we've been engaged in. Otherwise, they would have charged us with criminal behavior. They didn't charge us with selling drugs, stealing anything, sex trafficking, nothing like that. So it's a political case. And one of the people who they arrested associated with us, when the FBI did it, when they came and talked to him, how they had him in a jail cell, they asked him, well, what do the people think about what you've just done? And so that says a lot. What do the people think? And that's the thing that we have to demonstrate. That's our political task, to show what the people think. And we're organizing on several different levels to deal with that. They say that I'm guilty of participating in some kind of conspiracy to defraud the United States government. And I'm in this with comrades Penny Hess. Stand up, Penny, and say something. Hold your hand up. What's up? Let somebody see you. And comrade Penny Hess has been in this movement for 40 some odd years. And comrade Jesse Neville, they locked him up too. They put him in chains too. This is extraordinary because they never had to do this before. Usually when they come to attack us, we isolated. Nobody else is out there, but they couldn't come this way because we had opened up a whole new front of the African liberation movement. Now we exist in their communities. And that's what Penny Hess and Jesse Neville are about. So they're members of our organization, white members of our organization, 130 cities in this country. And they're the ones who are going throughout the white community, talking about genocide and reparations and organizing and informing the people of what this contradiction is all about. So, you know, that's a really important kind of development that we're talking about too, that our movement has been responsible for. They say that the Russians hired us to do this, but I was sent into the world by St. Petersburg, Florida, not St. Petersburg, Russia. You understand? And this incredible movement started here that has affected and infects the world today, and that's what they are concerned about. Because right here in St. Petersburg were SNCC organizers and JOMO forces, right here on the ground. But Juliet was a part of it at 15 years old, where Juliet would tell you, we walk on the campus and pull out the whole black population from the school campus. Come on, march off, etc. Right here, ain't that right, Juliet? Gibbs High School, yeah. So we built the whole movement here. And then it was in this city where Stokely Carmichael had to come, wasn't it? It was in this city where Ralph David Abernathy and A.D. King, Martin Luther King's brother, had to come. It was in this city Miriam Makeba had to come through. It was in this city where we took the African Revolution. We brought people from all over Africa into here, and we took people from here all over Africa and all over the world. This is where this movement was born. It's in this city that we created the African People's Socialist Party. It's in this city where we built the African People's Solidarity Committee. This is the origin of the thing. This is the headquarters. This is why we characterize this as a city of African resistance. It was in this city, in this very same building that we're standing in right now, in 1996. They attacked us 300 strong, 300. They had virtually every cop, not only from St. Petersburg, but in the entire area. They had the highway patrol. And at the dome down there that they took from black people, they had the National Guards on standby. This city, when they attacked us, this city, when they used all the tear gas in the city of St. Petersburg to attack us, what was our crime? They didn't charge us with a crime, but they said they were attacking us because they didn't like what we were going to say. It was speech. It was speech that was the basis of this attack on us. We're going to have free speech. That's our responsibility to make that happen. So we fight for the right to speak. We have to be able to speak. That's how we confer the ideas that we have through speech. If they can take away your right to speak, they take away your right to think. Yes. There's a white guy who wrote a book called 1984. What was his name? George Orwell. And he made a very interesting statement in that book. He said, who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. It's those who control the present who are trying to define what the past was. So I'm supposed to go to trial and say that our history started in 2014 or 2015 when I went to Moscow. It didn't start when somebody came and kidnapped me from Africa. It didn't start with the struggles that we've been involved in that killed Martin Luther King, that killed Malcolm X, that all these assaults that made it. Our history just started then. I can't even testify easily. It's going to take a fight to even get some of this in the testimony. What brought me into political life in the first place? It was the horrors that we experienced. It was the fact that right here at City Hall, the seat of government, that they could hang a 8x10 mural that had black people looking like monkeys entertaining white people, and they can do that, and we tear it down and go to prison for it. I'm sentenced to 5 years in prison for taking it down. They should be in prison for putting it up. And they know that when we come to power, they put that up there. And we're not supposed to be able to protest it. We're not supposed to be able to say, you cannot demean black people like that. And they had cowardly so-called leaders who were too punkish to take a stance around it. And who even after we snatched it down, they said, well, we didn't like it either, but we just didn't like the way they took it down. They said things like, we were having secret talks with them. We were gonna have them do something with it, but you jumped the gun. This was the kind of logic they used. But we had the streets, didn't we, Juliet? And the streets belong to us, and that's what we're saying has to occur now. So I just want to quickly say just a couple of things, and I'm going to shut up. For one thing, we're revolutionaries. And by that, what I mean is that we believe that we have to be in charge of our own affairs. We have to be a self-governing people. In order for, everybody does. Every people has to fight for that. Deep in your heart, you have to be opposed to some foreign element coming and taking over your life and defining what your children will look like and how they will look. You know, we had a situation here with just a school and that they used to call 16th Street School, and I'll tell you some stories about that one day, where the children, if they wore their pants sagging or something, they were talking about imprisoning the children, kicking the children out of school, not because they didn't understand something, but because they had set certain standards, because African children are in a constant state of resistance. And if they ain't got no leadership who will give them political direction, what that resistance should look like, they say, the white man say, wear your pants like this, I'm gonna wear my pants like that. White man say, wear your hat like this, I'm gonna wear my hat like that. They're in a constant state of resistance. And they don't want that resistance to ever be organized and ever have consciousness. And that's what our responsibility is. And that's one of the reasons they will attack us. So in order for revolution to happen, there has to be several factors. And we have a scientific approach to stuff. And none of it includes Russia. Several factors. There has to be a crisis. Is there a crisis?
Yes, there is.
Everybody is experiencing crisis now. Not just here, but in the whole world is experiencing crisis. The ruling class cannot rule in the same old way. That's one of the things for crisis, for revolution. The ruling class cannot rule in the same old way. Guess what? Joe Biden just said, I ain't running for president.
Yeah,
you understand? He said, I know y'all made me, the nominee, but I ain't gonna try to do it, etc. And we're just gonna have to find another way to do this because you can't rule in the same old way. And not only can the ruling class not rule in the same old way, you got Donald John Trump, who said the whole thing crooked any damn way. This is a hell of a contradiction. That's their contradiction. That ain't mine. I don't accept this as my contradiction. You got a situation where somebody pierced Trump's ear the hard way. You understand? In order for there to be revolution, people, number three, people have to be willing to do anything to be free. People have to come to a conclusion, you can't do anything worse to me than what you're doing to me now. That's why you see children fighting tanks in Palestine, in South African places, and in the city, in the streets of St. Petersburg. People say, we ain't doing it this way no more. That's necessary for revolution. And then finally, in order for there to be revolution, you have to have a revolutionary party with advanced revolutionary theory. And most of those factors exist today. And so we have to put the people, make the people obvious. We have to answer the question. We have to tell them what the people think. And so on July 27th, we're having a really important kind of meeting. This, I think, is going to be mostly through social media or something like that, isn't it? Yeah. And be here. So we want people to be here on July 27th. On August 31st, we are having a major mobilization. We're having people coming from all around the country, everybody who believes in freedom, everybody who believes in free speech, everybody who stands in solidarity with African people will be here on August 31st. And on September 3rd, we're going to trial. And there are going to be so many of us, they're going to have to move the trial someplace else. You understand? We have to make it necessary to put the trial in the damn stadium. We got to have we got to get people, hundreds and hundreds of people have to be brought into this situation so that the government knows, that the people know, that it's black people who are on trial, that you're trying to put on trial, and that people have determined we're going to put you on trial. That's what we're going to have to be able to do. So I just think that it's important, like to say those things. And they said that we were working for the Russians, that we had into a conspiracy. Me, Penny, Jesse were part of a conspiracy with some Russians. And that the Russians are responsible for the other things that we did, because actually we are 4 minus 1. Because Akile back there was one of the persons who was an unindicted co-conspirator whose house they went to, and who told her that someone was breaking into your car, come and we want you to come and check it out. And when she comes out, the FBI comes from behind all kinds of vans and stuff like that, and jack her, They didn't just come for us, they cordoned off my neighborhood. The people had to show their ID at 5 o'clock in the morning here and 6 o'clock here in St. Petersburg to leave and come to their houses. Black people did. And similarly in St. Louis. We said, did y'all get in the pictures? That's what I was asking for. Y'all get in the video? They said, hell no, we thought it was coming for us. That's how we live as a people. Constantly, we have to live under this kind of terror. And they want to say the Russians did this thing and somehow hired us. I don't know if the Russians ever had any experiences with their leaders being killed just for trying to join Joe Biden's party. With the churches being bombed. I don't know if Russians ever had that experience. How in the hell could Russians teach us about that? And so they charged us with that. So we had this conspiracy to commit these crimes. That's part of defrauding the United States of America. Comrade Marvin, it's good to see you. Yeah, Comrade Marvin, he comes in from Tampa, and he's on the cases with us in Miami and what have you. We're building a magnificent movement here. Comrade Luca Day, Emmanuel, can you stand up, Emmanuel? Yeah. Uhuru. Emmanuel, the family is from Sudan, and because we're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And we can reconnect them with everybody. All the family members coming together again. I'm in the leadership of the party, yeah. And so he's going to be playing a major role in terms of the organizing that we're going to be doing here on the ground. We want people who are here to commit to being here on the 27th. We want people who are here to commit to being here on the 31st. We want people who are here to commit to being here on September 3rd. We want people who are here to commit to doing work on a day-to-day basis, because we just initiated what we call Freedom Summit. And so we're going to be doing work every day, going door to door, talking to people, et cetera, taking this case and an understanding of what is going on. And because they want us to have a parochial worldview. They don't want us to be able to see the world. And they're attacking us because we are showing the world, because we're experiencing the world. They say Russia, 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 Russia. And again, none of us has a Russian last name. The last names we got Well, from the ones who kidnapped and enslaved us. That's where the name Davis comes from. That's where the name Waller that was imposed on us came from. Didn't have any Russian name. There was no Putin's, last names. You won't find it in our community because the Russians didn't enslave us. And I'm not going to act like they did. They say, you're trying to do something, take away freedoms, use freedoms here to, what do they call it? How they say it? Weaponize free speech. For Russians, well, Russians don't have free speech. Well, I'm not going to debate whether Russians have free speech or not. But I know they killed Emmett Till when he was 14, 15 years old because they say he was a white woman. I mean, what bigger attack can you make on the right to speech? So I just wanted to say that, and it's a given that you're not supposed to have these rights if you're black. Brother back there, he's talking about how they're trying to railroad him. That's one of the reasons he came to the meeting today. Brother Eddie is responsible in being here. They're trying to railroad him into prison. And we're trying to say that we're burning down the railroad station, right? So I just want to thank all of you for coming out. And I know, Jane, I probably violated some horrible principle when it comes to time and what have you, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Uhuru, wow. Another incredible presentation by our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, leader of the African People's Socialist Party, leader of the African nation. And I love to read from this book. I want to read this quote from The Wolf and the Double-Edged Blade. Everyone who becomes involved in the process of changing the world changes him or herself as well. In the 1960s, people who one day were simply uneducated sharecroppers went out to try to change the world and were transformed. So let's open it up for the Q&A session. We allotted 10 minutes. Do we still have 10 minutes for the Q&A session? Uhuru, all right. Let's first question.
This is Life Malcolm.
Uhuru Life.
Who himself was Aquile's lawyer. He was the lawyer for Aquile. Yeah, so just wanted to let you know, this is what we got for Uhuru.
Uhuru. Question? Should they approach the podium?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Yes.
Come on up to ask your question. All right, Uhuru.
Where do you gonna get it, right?
Uhuru. Yeah, come on up here.
My name is John X. This is what I want to say. I know Chairman got a lawyer to go to court and everything, yeah. But I really think it's time for, we're gonna win this case. But what I'm saying, we win the case, we should try for money, right? And I mean, it takes extra time for the lawyer. You have to spend money to get your money back. And that money you spend, you want that back too. Don't be about losing money all the time. But make them pay all kind of way. You spend your money, you want that back and some more money. Yeah. And I think they would not be so quick to grab people when you start doing that. It's more about the one cake. You do your finance back. Yeah. So whatever you get back, triple that. Let us think, get your money back. I believe in that. Because there's a lot from the start, so they have to pay. Yeah. 100%. All right,
Uhuru, comrade. And as the next person comes up, I'm gonna, the comrade director, can I give you the basket so we can start to make the collections? Again, I said it earlier, we have a goal of $100 and we've already exceeded that goal, but let's go ahead and double that. Let's make it 200. Uhuru. Now I wanna open it up. We've got a few more questions. Do we have someone in St. Louis who's at the Aquaba Hall in St. Louis who wants to ask a question? Go ahead and approach the podium. And do we have someone that was prepared to ask a question or make a comment after Johnny X? Comrade Marvin? Oh, yeah? All right, Uhuru. All right, Uhuru. Uhuru, brother. All right. Uhuru.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I'm John Taz Williams.
Uhuru.
I'm a Bayfront baby, man. I've been here all my life, man, and it's just like been through a lot of injustices in my life. You know what I mean? Since elementary school up to now. You know what I mean? They pretty much ruined my life before it even got started. You know, adjudicated me as an adult at 16 just based off a lie from a racist teacher at Hamilton Distance. So I've been going through it a lot, and I've been getting railroaded my entire life, and I'm tired. I'm fighting. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these times where traffic stops turn into multiple charges by, you know, officers violating your rights. You know what I mean? 2 tickets turned into 3 felonies. So, but I'm just seeking justice, and I'm tired of these people, man. You know what I mean? I'm fighting. I've been fighting for like a year. You know, it happened like the day after Mother's Day last year. You know, just traveling. You know what I mean? Minding my own business, and 6 officers, spike scripts, and all kind of stuff. I'm gonna bust your windows out if you don't get out the car tight, man. Like, just give me my ticket, let me go about my way, you know. But anyway, I'm just seeking help, seeking justice. If anybody knows civil lawyer, anybody that can help me, I got a great case, you know, got my motion in. After I put that motion to suppress, now the state wiggling, and they went from trying to send me to prison. Now they want to settle with misdemeanor. I'm good. I want my motion to be heard. But now, you know, you hire somebody to represent you, and then everybody working together. You know what I mean? I didn't ask you for a deal with the state. I want my motion heard. So Monday I'm going to talk to the judge. You know, they got me set for trial Wednesday, but I know it ain't gonna make it up. But I'm standing firm and they ain't budging. You know what I mean? You heard.
Come on up, please. Yes, Juliet, yes. The podium is yours.
Uhuru. It's so amazing that this fight is still on. It's awful that we're still fighting. More than 50 years later, we're still fighting. But what I found interesting when I came in here and spoke to the sister, she said Uhuru, and I said Uhuru Sassy. Because that's what back in the day, freedom, Uhuru Sassy is now. Yes. So anyway, that was interesting. But it's just the time that the chairman has put in, all these years, all these hours, training and fighting and reading and studying and doing all the things that he does. We should just give him an applause. And I guess I started at about 14, 15. I was kind of young. I was going to play first, all kinds of things. But I was serious about the revolution. I was serious about us getting our freedom. I didn't joke with that. And at the schools, when they first started forced busing, I was up on the tables in the lunchroom. We had all the kids out in the street out there on 9th Avenue before they redesigned our whole community and marched them downtown. We know we were going to do down there. We was going to stand down there and chat, chanting. So we went down there and we came back. But I'm just so glad and grateful that it's terrible that we're still fighting, but I'm so glad that we have such a brave comrade in this brother who has never backed down. He has never relented. He's always been there. And one thing about the FBI, we had the FBI training, so I went home to train my mom. And of course, they went to her job. And because they said who they were and showed their badges, well, when she got to the meeting, the supervisor and the company president was there, and the 2 FBI agents. And so they had a seat for my mom, and she walked in there. She didn't even sit down. And they wanted to say about Julia, blah, blah, blah. She said, am I under arrest? She said, no, she said, right in there, south. She just went right back out of here. And I thought that was the boldest thing for her to do. And she was, you know, well, and I don't lose my job, you know, but she was down for it. As a matter of fact, they didn't mind me coming to the meetings at all because it was so radical, you know, the change was something that was so needed in the community that they even changed churches.
Yes, sure did.
They went from Catholicism to Islam. Well, back in the day, it was the Black Muslims, but you know. So I'm just grateful to be here, and I want to reconnect with the group. Things have been a few places, saw some stuff, and I think I may have some skills that we could use that I could, you know, add to the part of things that's going on. And Uhuru.
That is. Whoa. Juliet. She's just magnificent, always asking. And as she mentioned, her mother and her daddy. And I don't remember, I'm trying to remember if your sister, Tony, was, yeah. 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 And Juliet trained her parents on what to do when the FBI comes. That's the movement. That's what Freedom Summer has to be about. We got to train everybody. We got to turn the whole community and make it conscious of who it is and what its rights are, the history of our struggle and what have you, because they want to blind people to our history and keep people from knowing that, you know, every space, every inch that we occupy, every bit of it, we fought for it, every inch of the way. They said, well, they ain't gonna give you nothing. They never gave us anything. White man don't give you reparations. They never gave us anything. We're not expecting them to give us anything. We have to fight for it. And the organization is the critical thing. And I'm glad to see that Juliet is, because she was, actually, you can see, she was a believer, committed to it. And that's how we have to be. So, sister, I see you sitting there, you're leaning forward. Yeah, you turn around. Come on up. Yeah. Yeah. Uhuru.
Well, I'm Leila May Allen's daughter.
Come on up. Yeah.
Okay.
This is Leila May's daughter.
I am from St. Petersburg, and I've known him as Joe.
Yes.
From the streets, from the city. I am from here. And I've never been afraid because the master, the maker, the creator that created me had taken my parents when I was a little girl. And the struggle was, the battle was not mine, it was the Lord's. Slavery and bondage, Russians, Jews, whatever it is. I pray for my people because people like him, it's gonna always be covered. There's not a problem, there's nothing too hard, and he will prevail. I kept being invited. I won a ticket to a gospel concert and I talked to Brother Eddie, Reverend Eddie. And I remember him when he was a young man. I think we may be about the same age. I'm 64 years old. Down at McCory's where he used to play that guitar. Boy, I used to get down there and sing and put money in the basket. And you know, I watch God. I watch him as he used me and how he made me whole. And I have sisters and family that, you know, I just trusted God because I've been through some stuff. I walk by faith and not by sight. I am also been blinded, but now I see.
Well.
So, I just want to thank you all because I kept saying, oh, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. And I kept saying, they say, that's Joe, that's your walk, that's your walk, that's your family. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go down there because the creator keep telling me he got something for me to do. I've done a lot of things. I have wonder working powers that I ain't gonna say I didn't know I could do. And I have done, but there's nothing too hard. Now this September the 3rd is a miraculous day because it's the day I lost my nephew and it was his birthday and we sent him away. So the Father said to me, he said, there's gonna be a victorious day this year. In 2024, you're gonna be president and you're gonna watch me do something that they thought couldn't be done. So I said, okay, God, where do I go? He said, well, you need to go on down there. They keep sending you these text messages. So I want you to get on down there. So I said, oh, Lord, I'm late again. But I'm going to go today. I got to go today because you keep telling me to get out there. So I see why he wants me. He got something that he told me to tell y'all.
Right.
It is already done. It is well. And there's nothing too hard, and you keep on doing what you do. And I'm gonna learn to say Uhuru, Uhuru.
Yes, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. And this is what makes the difference in terms of the connection that we have with communities and people. It's not some false thing that just because somebody wears a uniform or a beret or something like that. It's real connection with real human beings. And if you go back to our history, like in this city, there's nobody who's African who's in public office with any significance who is not there as a consequence of what this movement has done. That's just an absolute truth, what this movement has done. And all of the so-called integrated stuff we initiate, we force them to treat African people with dignity. They've taken initiative, they've created something that's really interesting. I think they call them the heroic, what is it, the heroic, how many? Heroic 12. The heroic 12 African men who were on the police force and who were niggered and had nooses hanging in their offices where they were located and just treated horribly. And they took it, and they took it. And this is the basis of, and they finally filed a suit. And their heroism is because they took it all. At the same time that they were being heroes by taking all this stuff from the police department, Jomo, the organization that we were representing, were in life and death struggles with that police department for the rights of Black people in the city. But they make them heroes because they did nothing. They stayed there all the time, taking it. And we became people who were demonized because we fought against the treatment of our people. So it's very good. I mean, I'm very glad to see you. I'm so happy that you're here. And come on, brother. Wait, no, hold it, brother. Hold it. Don't go. Let's make the blind lead the blind.
Chairman. All right. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, everybody who's here. Let me hear a round of applause. I come to say a couple of quick things. I want to appreciate the young lady who was just up here remembering me singing down on the street corner. 35 years I've done that, 35 years. And I sat down on the street corner, got married, had 3 kids, got grandkids. My oldest grandson is 18. But I just come to say what this brother has done. This brother has took on his back African people everywhere. It was when I sat down there for 35 years, in my 35th year, I said, Lord, what am I going to do? I can't keep singing out here because my steps are getting shorter. My air lungs are not as powerful as they used to be when I was 23. I was 57 years old. I can't sing from You might know, I came from 8 o'clock in the morning, and you could come back for lunch, I was still there. You could come back for dinner, I was still there. Singing, trying to support my family, because we are in a struggle. We have always been in a struggle. And now I sat there and said, Lord, what am I gonna do? And here comes a radio station I heard called Black Power. I said, oh, they called my name. Black Power. I'm black and I got power. So I came and I never forget this. They said, you want to do what? I said, I want to be a DJ. And they said, you think you could do it? I said, give me a chance. I think I could do it. What do you want to play? I said, gospel music. Because I was raised in the church. I said, let me do gospel music. That's what I do. And I just believe you seek first the kingdom of heaven, everything else will be added unto you. That's how I was raised. So I came in to play the gospel music. And for a couple of years, I've struggled. I'll tell you the truth. I stayed on 55th Street and 38th Avenue North. I've never missed a day to be here. Right. I caught a cab. It cost me $20 one way and $20 back. Got evicted because I was in a struggle. And they said, well, you can't pay your rent. I'm sure not paying my rent. I'm going to Black Power. And I continued to go to Black Power. Next couple of years later, Deputy Chair on us today, Chairman's wife, Eddie, we want you to be the assistant manager. I said, what? Yes, we gonna help you. We're gonna give you a little income. I said, okay. I went home and I thought about it. I laid in the bed and I said, well, Lord, I'm blind. You know, I can't see, but they want me to be assistant manager. I'm gonna do all I can. Never late, coming back. 2 years later, got a call for chairman, deputy chair. We love your vision, even though you can't see. We want you to be the manager of the station. I said, talk slow. That's Black Power. That's Black Power. And I want to say we're in the middle of a fund drive also at the station, and we want to keep this radio station going. We got 10 days to go to raise funds. And I count on all of you all to just donate if you can, whatever you can do. And I heard Conrad Janaboo say, they're trying to raise $100 today, and I thought that was just very low. I'm giving $100 today. God bless you, Uhuru, to all of y'all. Do what you can, while you can. Put your heart and do your part.
Uhuru! Add this to the pot. Uhuru, wow. You know, today, DJ Eddie, you just mentioned that we have a goal of $100 and we've exceeded our goal. We reached $300 today. And it's these types of donations, contributions that help us bring rallies like what we're having today here. It's what keeps us running. And I also want to let you know that you can participate in this movement. Join MPDOM. We have an annual membership. It's $25 a year. If you're unemployed or if you're a student, it's $10. And you know, this is something that, you know, it's something that it's our mass organization, something that we can all do. I'm going to run through some announcements before we conclude. We have our hundreds of comrades that are coming to participate in the Long Hot Summer. Not One Step Backwards rally in March is on Saturday, August 31st, and we're going to pack the courthouse on September 3rd. Also want to thank all the vendors who attended the last market, One Africa, One Nation market. And our next market is July 27th. That's going to be in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you're in the area, make sure that you get there. And we also have on, again, July 27th. Hold on, do you have a question? Yeah. Reading on the announcements on that. Oh. Do we have it? Where is the report? Oh, it's Luca Day. Are you going to announce the report? Outreach reports. All right, Uhuru. Yeah, let's get the outreach reports by Comrade Lucaday, and then we'll go into the announcements after that. Uhuru.
Uhuru, my name is Emmanuel. Thank you so much for being here, and for all the testimonies and comments. I think it's real important that we that we not be shy about our freedom, that we not be timid about our freedom, that we not be shy or timid about defending the Black community, defending our community. I think that's real important. When your freedom is under attack, you fight back. When your community is under attack, you fight back. So I'd like to start off with a chant. It goes something like, when Black people are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. That's real important. Or when Black people are under attack, what do? When Black people are under attack, what do? Fist up, fist up, fist up, fist up. I think it's real important when we talk about the Black community, when we talk about African people, that we keep the fighting spirit strong. The fighting spirit has to be strong for our future as well. I am tasked to give the outreach report. I love being boots on the ground. I love the feel of soil on my feet and on and having my comrades there as well with us. So the outreach report for today, we have a goal of saturating the streets of St. Petersburg with 6,000 flyers and 300 posters. So far, just this week, we had distributed 1,090 agitprop material. So thank you to the outreach team. The ground forces are incredible. We were, out doing drops, we were making drops until make the drops until the case drops. Make the drops until the sun drops. But we're gonna make drops so much that the people you said what? A drop is when you put a flyer on the doors of the people. So when they come in or come out, that's the first thing they see. And so we had distributed something like 300 flyers and posters into stores. We also did door to door. That was incredible. We did door to doors out in Emerald Bay. All right, but we still have quite a bit to go in order to reach our 6,000 mark. So far, we have 111 posters, so 111 out of 300, and we have about less than 5,000 flyers left to be distributed. And I'm quite confident that we can make that. We have 6 weeks left. So that is the outreach report for this week. And I'd like to also invite you all to join the fight back, to do phone banking. If you can do phone banking, we have phone bankings every single day. We have outreach, boots on the ground every single day, 10 to 2 and 4 to 7. And so if you have some time, you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to fight back and defend the Black community, please join with us in doing that. There should be sign-up sheets up on that table. And that would be all.
Uhuru, that's right. Go ahead and, sign up at the table. Comrade, I call her Momrad. Kenya is over at the table, ready to sign you guys up. Grab a poster, get some flyers, get the literature. If you can't physically go out and make drops, participate in the phone banking and just make some calls, get everybody involved. If you know some other, numbers that need to be added to that database, submit that and we can get organized. All right, Uhuru, let's proceed with the announcements. So I'll start with saying that every Sunday, 4 p.m. right here at the Aquaba Hall in St. Petersburg, but also simultaneously in St. Louis, we have our Sunday rallies. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring yourself. We also have Not One Step Backwards, drop the charges against the Uhuru 3. We have the national rally on August 31st at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, right here, 1245 18th Avenue South, St. Pete, Florida. People from all over the country are gonna be attending, and we need you there too. Not One Step Backwards, drop the charges against the Uhuru 3. Saturday, again on August 31st. This is a historic rally that we're going to be having from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. across the street from the Uhuru House. Oh, right here, right next to the Uhuru House. The Uhuru 3 trial begins Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Let's pack the courthouse. We're putting the state on trial. It's going to be held at the Tampa Federal Courthouse at 801 North Florida Avenue in Tampa, Florida, 33602. You can visit www.handsoffuhuru.org to sign up for alerts, and you can get some more information so you can be in Tampa for the trial. We're going to have busing coming from the Uhuru House to the courthouse. So if you need a ride, we're going to have sign-up sheets, and that way we can make sure that everyone can get there. Uhuru, you have a question? T-shirts, well, the primary colors will be red, black, and green. But right now, we have some T-shirts that are available for sale. Comrade Penny is wearing the Hands Off Uhuru, Hands Off Africa T-shirt. Do you have something to say? Okay, so there will be a bin of T-shirts. Will that be next rally or when's that? In 2 weeks. All right, Uhuru. So we'll have some T-shirts available in a couple of weeks as well. Yeah, they'll be for sale, and then we'll have the price listed. Just bring your resources so we can get organized. Do you have something, Chairman?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. This whole issue, about money, when we ask for money, we're talking about T-shirts being sold, things like that. The initial attack on our homes and offices on July 29, 2022, cost us $40,000 just in damage that they did. They tore down, was it every door? Was that where? Right here, every door, they used battering rams. Every door they knocked in here. They broke windows and things like that in different places. They stole computers, laptops, just various other kinds of devices. So off the bat, that cost us something like $40,000 just to be able to get us cell phones and stuff like that to communicate. We spent close to $300,000 right now on legal fees. And we're still talking about getting resources because we want to have the ability to pay lawyers, or that's one aspect of it. But we need to also be able to get transcripts from the courts every day, and that costs money. Then witnesses, we have to have expert witnesses and things like that we'll have to pay. More than likely, all of these witnesses. There will be, professors and other folk who have some background and expertise, who know something about the history of Black people and this whole Russia question, and we can talk about the tradition of our people and the relationship to Russia, the Soviet Union, things like that, and various other kinds of questions, the history of this thing. Because one of the things they charged us with is because we not only we opposed the United States attack on Russia using Ukraine as the means to do that, but we say we support Russia against this attack. And it had nothing to do with being in love with Russians or anything like that. It had to do with what we understood historically, what this meant about them trying to maintain the whole colonial domination of the world, and that that Russia had become a problem for them maintaining this. That this attack on Russia began more than 100 years ago, in 1918, right after the Russian Revolution. All of the colonial powers, including Japan and the United States, they invaded Russia. They've been trying to crush Russia since that time. So they said that our stance around that is because Russia paid us to say this. They said that over a period of 6 years, that we collected something like $7,000 from Russia. We've raised more than that in 2 hours in some meetings that we've had. You know, it's all garbage. It's nonsense. But they plan to be successful because they assume that there are enough white people who are prejudiced against black people that they will put them on a jury and they'll convict us regardless of what the evidence is. And they assume that there are enough people, because some of us are old enough to have grown up, and even in elementary schools, that being frightened by the possibility that Russia's going to drop an atomic bomb and teach you how to get under the desk. Like the desk is going to survive an atomic bomb, but this is the kind of stuff. So people get brought up on that. So fearful of Russia, fearful of black people, and then have Russian and black people. So they're assuming that they won't have to have evidence. I'm convinced that they're wrong. There's something that's happening in this country where all kinds of people across the political and ideological spectrum are offended by the intrusion in their lives by the United States government. Those are people even who are MAGA people, and then there are people who are MAGA people, and people really have problems with how the United States government, and even the FBI, there have been congressional hearings about the weaponization of the FBI that attacked us and things like this. The FBI that killed Martin Luther King, the FBI that killed Malcolm X, the FBI that hunted down members of the Black Panther Party, the FBI who who got files and files off me and would come and interrogate me on a regular basis. I don't know if coming to yet remembers, but there was a time where my little nephews, when they were in their like 6 and 7 years old, the FBI would come to my mother's house and interrogate them. This is the kind of thing that we've had to deal with. And I want Comrade Chimaringa, by the way, what's your name, brother? Jonell? Yes. John Tell. Brother Chimaringa, I hope you would talk to John Tell before. John Tez. I hope you would talk to this brother, see what kind of suggestions that you might have for him in terms of dealing with this case. But this is, the kind of reality that we're dealing with. We've got an extraordinary team of lawyers. I mean, I don't think it is possible to have better lawyers than what we have. But I'm saying that this is not a case that is based on law. What we have to do is build a political base, a political expression, public, pronounced, outstanding, magnificent political thing, so that when our lawyers walk into a courtroom, the whole atmosphere will have been changed by the obvious demonstration of the people in solidarity with us in opposition to what the government is trying to do. The lawyers will do their part. We have to do our part, to demonstrate the political nature of this case. That's why the sisters, I'm so glad to see you come up and talk about it. And I was thinking as you were speaking about, I grew up in church. I mean, I don't think you could be black and old enough and not have that happen to you. And I didn't just grow up in church. I grew up in church. It's called Holy Rollers. You understand? And but I made a presentation not too long. I don't go to church now, not mostly. But I made a presentation some time ago because I investigated the whole history of the church. Black people went to Christianity because we saw Christianity as the religion of the oppressed. That's what took us there. That's why the church, black people have always been different from white people. You see, white people have done some things to the churches that act more like black churches, but it was a religion of the oppressed. And that's why, you know, say, go down Moses. Right. Way down Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. That was the kind of thing that motivated. That's the thing that took us to Christianity, because it was a religion of the oppressed. Isn't that right, Sister Bugs? Yeah, that's my grandmother told me Bible stories. It was my political education. Told me Bible stories about Samson, who slew the Philistines with the jawbone. I was going to say something naughty and say something like the jawbone of a lion, but it wasn't. It was the jawbone of an ass. And, you know, my grandmother told me that. She told me the stories of, you know, people overcoming oppression, etc. And that's why we're able, DJ Eddie is able to say Black Power and Jesus is the same sentence. And that's why we're able to say, if Jesus was a revolutionary, and he was, he fought the Romans, the Roman colonizer. Today, the United States is today's Rome. And he represented a movement to fight against colonialism. And there were different factions of Hebrews who were fighting against Rome at the time. And he was a part of a group that was called what? Somebody say it. There was the Sadducees, right? There was the Pharisees, right? Say it again. And the Zealots. And the Zealots were the by any means necessary thing. And Jesus, as well as some others, but anyway, they fought. The whole thing was, how do you fight against oppression? And that's what took our people into Christianity in this country. The truth of the matter is, of course, you look at Christianity, Judaism, and all of that, you see origin in where? In Africa, right? Y'all know that, right? Yeah. Y'all know that? Yeah. Yeah. Say it again. That's right, you got the Bible, and you lost your land. Anyway, so it was so good to hear what you have to say, and then we want to have a movement for free people. And so Freedom Summer is starting now. We're looking for people who can cook. Because if we're going to come here every Sunday, why not bring a potluck or something so that we can have communion after, you know, and people can cook. You know, I might even make some vegan biscuits. And there are other things that people can bring too. So we want to look at that, to bring a whole movement together. And like I said, we're looking at Freedom Summer every day. We're going to be out in the fields with Emmanuel, knocking on doors and passing out flyers and holding up signs and communicating to the people. They thought that when they attacked us that we would be too frightened to organize, that we would just fold up our tent, and that we would confess to something that we didn't do. One of our lawyers said that that would be like to make the plea deal, to take this plea to say that we did it, and please, boss, don't be too harsh. That would be committing perjury. We didn't do it. You understand? I want y'all to know that this is my granddaughter. Yeah, by the way. Yeah. That's our mama over there. We used to say, there used to be this saying that if I knew grandchildren were going to be so great, I would have had them first. This is my adopted granddaughter, and she's about to present me with a great grandchild, daughter. So this is who we are. We are the community. We are the people. There's nothing, we're not extraterrestrial forces. The extraterrestrial forces are those who come to our homes and our buildings at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning with grenades and tanks and things like that. Those are the ones who are stopping us on the corners and asking for ID and giving what should be a ticket to us, and we end up with felony charges and things like this on a regular basis. Like they killed, talk about a moving stop, like they killed Tyrone Lewis right down the street from this place right here on October 24th. How they gunned him down, they murdered him. And they knew it when and the rebellion happened here, and they said that we are the ones who caused the rebellion. What you gonna say, brother? Yes. Oh, Javon is your cousin. No, we can't forget. Oh, yeah. And what's the sister's name? What's the sister? His mama. No, his grandmama was the one who he lived with. They shot Javon. They shot in Javon's car 14 times. 14 times. They oops, it was the wrong car. Oh yeah, you're right. Javon is the one at the graduation, and then they dropped the gun on him. Like there's so many. I was confused with that with McCullough. And then Javon Dawson, because I was jogging and Javon's daddy stopped me while I was jogging and said, they killed my son. And we organized around that. That's why they want to do something.
I used to live across the street from the gym, 1300.
Okay, all right.
92 the old post, so that like, I used to be in the gym all the time.
Come home. You gotta come home.
I used to be up the street on Melrose.
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna tell all the stories about what used to happen up there. Yeah. So come on home. That's what you gotta do. Come on home. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this is Lucky. Let me point out Lucky. Lucky has lost his eyesight too. But Lucky is the one who organized the Uhuru basketball team. We had basketball players, children, men and boys and girls, and they were, what do you call it? They were undefeated. They were victorious basketball players and what have you, and so Lucky organized that, and Lucky is the one who organized the garden that we had back here, because it grows food and stuff like that. That's who we are. That's who we are. And we are pretty transparent. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you so much for being here. Uhuru.
I want to also say, Chairman's newest book right here, The Verdict is In, Reparations Now, the 1982 World Tribunal on reparations to African people. You can get this here, you can get it at the burningspear.store. And also you can get the Burning Spear newspaper. This is the news and the analysis of the Uhuru movement. And you can read all about the Uhuru movement in each issue of the Spear and help inform the community about our struggle for liberation. So you can get your copy, you can subscribe, you can get your monthly bundle to sell the Spear in your area on that same website, theburningspear.store. So Uhuru comrades, I also want to say I'm not, my mom Rad is there, but my father was also a member of the African People's Socialist Party. He was the director of organization and his name was Biko Lumumba. And we used to have a Biko Lumumba Comrade of the Quarter award. And just recently, Comrade Penny has sent me, was it last night? You sent me an email showing me a picture, a black and white photo of my father leading a rally to defend the political prisoner, Leonard Peltier. And I just thought that was so significant. And I always hear his voice and he would say, Israel, and everyone would say, E Africa. And then he would chant back, E Africa. And we would say, Israel too. So I want to do that now. Israel too. E Africa. E Africa. Israel. Touch one. Touch one. Uhuru. Thank you for coming out. Make sure that you stop by the table, grab some literature, sign up so you can get organized. We need phone banking. Make sure you can, if you can do drops, do that. Go ahead and, yeah, right there. She's got the form right there. Can you hand, yeah, right there. Uhuru comrades. Yes. Oh, that's the last, we gotta call the raffle. I know y'all want that, y'all need the gas cards, hold on.
Gas card, yeah. Somebody will win that gas card.
All right, let's get it going, hold on, okay, right here. And this is one too. Chairman, you pick the first.
That's not gonna make me suspect.